We're going to radically rethink how we communicate growth. Okay, let's just dive right into this.
I want you to pause for just a second. Imagine you're at work and your boss or a colleague walks up and drops this universally feared 7-word question on you. Can I give you some feedback? Did you feel that? That sudden knot in your stomach? That visceral dread instantly creates a very real physical reaction in our bodies.
And you know, the science behind why we feel that dread is absolutely fascinating. It isn't just in your head. Well, actually, scratch that, it is literally in your head. When we hear we're getting feedback, which almost always focuses on our past mistakes, our brains get flooded with a stress-inducing hormone called cortisol. We immediately enter a threat state. This psychological and neurological reality essentially paralyzes the brain. It shuts down our executive function and creativity, triggering what experts call learned helplessness. Because we're forced to focus on an unchangeable past, we literally cannot process how to improve.
So how do we fix this? Well, enter executive coach Marshall Goldsmith and his genuinely revolutionary concept, Feedforward. Instead of fixating on the unchangeable negatives of the past, Feedforward provides positive suggestions for the future. It's really the ultimate solution to the feedback problem because it bypasses that whole threat response entirely.
And this brilliant paradigm shift was captured in Marshall Goldsmith's foundational paper. In it, he recognized a profound truth. While we absolutely cannot change the past, we have infinite power to shape the future. I mean, why dwell on what went wrong yesterday when we can collaborate on how to be brilliant tomorrow?
Now, you might be sitting there wondering, do people even want advice anymore? The answer is a resounding yes. Recent data highlights that modern workers, especially Gen Z at 58% and Gen Y at 45%, they actually crave guidance on how to improve. The problem isn't the desire to learn in pro. That desire is clearly there. The problem is entirely in the delivery.
So the crucial point here is the stark contrast between these two approaches. Traditional feedback looks backward, acts as a critic, and almost forces people to be defensive. Feedforward, on the flip side, looks forward, offers real solutions, and focuses purely on development. It's the literal difference between acting like a judge of the past and a coach for the future.
And why does this matter for actual, measurable skill development? Well, it comes down to this astonishing number: 95%. Studies show that regular, backward-looking feedback really changes habits on its own. But when you combine future-focused feed-forward with active coaching, the skill transfer rate skyrockets to an incredible 95%. That is a massive return on your communication investment.
Let's look at how this plays out in the real world. Imagine you just gave a presentation. The critic says, you had too many slides for a 10-minute presentation. Immediately, you feel defensive, right? You instantly want to explain why you needed them. But the coach says, hey, next time, try using 1 slide per minute. Notice the difference there? The coach empowers the receiver to make a future choice without making them feel attacked over a past mistake. A fantastic, really relatable example of this in action is over at Pixar Studios. They use a feed-forward concept called plussing. At Pixar, during peer reviews, you cannot point out a problem with someone's animation or story without simultaneously proposing a what-if alternative. It expands possibilities rather than just shooting down ideas. It keeps that creative momentum moving positively forward.
To break down the exact mechanics of why Feedforward is so effective and how you can structure it, we're going to transition into the repair framework. This was developed by author Joe Hirsch, and this acronym is just a brilliant toolkit to use before your very next coaching conversation.
First up, the R. True feed-forward regenerates. Positive reinforcement shouldn't just be a quick pat on the back that confirms what we already know. It should help people see entirely new opportunities for growth and encourage them to multiply that talent by sharing it with others.
Next, the E. It expands. Rather than tearing down a foundation, you start with what currently exists and add to it. This connects right back to that Pixar plussing concept we just talked about, asking, hey, what if we tried adding this next time?
Then we have P for particular. Because human brains have hard limits, the advice must be particular. If you dump a laundry list of 20 things to change on someone, they are going to completely shut down. So, focus strategically on just 1 or 2 things at a time to keep it manageable.
A stands for authentic. And listen, it is officially time to retire the dreaded praise sandwich. Because of the recency effect, bearing the truth between flimsy, fake compliments just ruins your message. Skip the fluff, clearly describe the situation, and directly prompt for a collaborative solution.
I is for impact. To actually work, the conversation needs to have real impact.
Vague advice like, be a better leader, just falls flat. You've got to put it in terms that people can actually operationalize and practice in their day-to-day work.
And finally, the last R, it refines. Feedforward replaces strict top-down hierarchies with collaborative shared peer review. It uses what's called creative abrasion, basically getting input from diverse peers to refine and vastly improve the final product together.
Okay, let's synthesize all of this. If you want to start using Feedforward today, you can summarize the core philosophy into 3 highly actionable basics. Number 1, reinforce what is working. Number 2, act like a coach, not a critic. And number 3, always frame your guidance as an idea for next time.
To really round out your toolkit, keep these 7 principles in your back pocket. Get comfortable with direct conversations. Always establish positive intent. Encourage self-reflection. Deliver advice in the moment. Be highly specific. Focus on solutions rather than the past. And always set clear, achievable goals. Now, if you want a super practical, immediate way to test this out, try this fascinating 2-minute feed-forward exercise designed by Marshall Goldsmith. It's actually incredibly fun. You ask a colleague for one behavior you want to change. You listen to 2 future-focused suggestions from them. And here is the catch. The absolute only thing you are allowed to say in response is, "Thank you." People listen so much better during this exercise because they aren't mentally preparing a defensive reply.
So as we wrap things up here, I want to remind you that our ultimate goal through this explainer is a fundamental shift in your professional identity. We want to move you away from being the critic, endlessly fixated on the last play. We want you to become the coach, passionately preparing your team for the next play. Which leaves us with this final, slightly provocative question to reflect on regarding your own leadership and communication style. Are you driving your team while looking in the rearview mirror? You can't change the road behind you, but you have complete control over where you steer next. Try Feedforward and see how it transforms your team. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.